Reina Mar is here with us now. How are you today?
I'm doing great. Thank you so much for having me.
You've released your new self titled EP, which was last Friday, the 9th of October. Is that your first EP, or have you had others before?
Yes, that is my debut EP, and it is a Latin pop EP that contains about four songs with a mixture of Spanish and English lyrics. And yeah, it's my first EP. It's my baby, so I'm really excited for everyone to hear it.
Is there a particular message behind it, or is it more of a showcase of different styles you can do?
I There's definitely a message behind it. A lot of every song on the EP kind of has a different message. It's really about the ups and the downs that everyone goes through in their life. The first song, which is called Novella, which means, in Spanish, it's almost like kind of like a soap opera, or like a story that's very dramatic and full of a lot of twists and turns. That's kind of like what
Yeah.
the EP is. There's topics about love in there. There's topics about heartbreak and also finding oneself and finding the worth in oneself as well.
How long did it take you to write all the songs in it?
It took me about, I want to say, a good solid year.
Wow.
Yeah, a solid year for the four songs. I mean, there were other songs that I was working on as well, and other different projects. But yeah, I would say it took me a solid year. I started off with writing Novella, which is the first song on the album, which was my debut single before the EP. And then once I started that song, it was kind of like a chain reaction with the other songs, and that's how I was able to finish the project.
I suppose if you spend a lot of time on it, then you know that the songs are going to be perfect.
Oh yes, exactly. And I'm a perfectionist. That's one thing. Some people on my team, they were like, "It's fine. You got to move on." And I'm like, "No, I need to change this one thing." So yeah, it definitely took a while and longer than I expected. But I'm glad. I'm glad it came out the way it did.
Do you do anything to get in the mindset of writing, or is it just songs come to you in the shower and on the train, or do you sit down in front of a keyboard or whatever and get it done?
Sure, sure. So I would say like kind of an inspiration to write and to create music. I would say, it's depending on really what I'm going through in my life. If I'm going through a really rough situation, or even just, I'm feeling love or I'm in a happy mood, I kind of
Yeah.
use the writing as a creative outlet to express myself. Certain life experiences kind of inspire my writing. Other times I listen to, my favorite artists or other types of music, or I'm at a show doing a cover song and it kind of inspires me to go home and write something. So I would say that's more or less where the inspiration comes from.
And who are some of your favourite artists that you take inspiration from?
So many. My parents raised me with, like, as a very cultured listener to all types of music. So I really love Adele. She came out when I was in high school, and I remember listening to her, and just the soul and honesty and rawness in her voice really inspired me to pursue a music career in the first place. And I also love Selena Quintanilla, which she, was the Mexican singer that had passed away the year I was born in 1995. She was also another inspiration of mine. I listened to her a lot growing up. But yeah, all a lot of different types of artists. Even Lady Gaga was a huge inspiration to me. Everything she's been
Yeah.
through and what she writes about and the type of person she is, has also inspired me as well. And I can go on and on and on because I love all types of music, and I love a lot of different types of artists.
Do you take inspiration from their styles, or is it just their kind of messages in the songs that you like the most?
I think a little bit of both. I really like the style and also the messages and the things that they write about as well.
Do you consider yourself a similar genre to some of those artists?
Yeah, I mean, I would say maybe I identify a bit more with Selena because she was a, a Latin artist, but she also had songs that were written in English as well. So I identify myself as a Latin pop artist. So there's a lot of pop and soul in my voice, but I also incorporate Spanish lyrics and Latin rhythms in my music, because that's really a part of who I am. So she's one of the people an artist that have inspired me to kind of go in this route, because I want to showcase who I am as not only an artist, but culturally who I am as a person.
When you started creating music, did you go in knowing exactly that you wanted to make that type, or has it evolved?
Oh, it's definitely evolved. I started off taking vocal lessons at 11 years old, and a lot of what I was doing was classical music. I studied a classical technique, and I did a lot of musical theater and operatic projects and things like that, and just R&B and soul and pop that kind of just developed. I took that classical technique and I used it in that style of music. And I really, again, I love all types of styles, but yeah, I would say that I evolved into this particular style of music. Yes.
What makes your music different from a lot of other singers, would you say?
Sure. So I think like one thing that sticks out is that there's some Spanish lyrics sprinkled in there. It's about 80% English lyrics, and a lot of like Latin pop songs, they're mostly in Spanish and have English sprinkled on them. But I'm kind of the reverse. I'm the opposite. I have majority English lyrics and then a little bit of Spanish sprinkled in there just to show people culturally who I am. And that's kind of how I express myself. I am Cuban and I'm first generation American. I was born here in America. But yeah, I wanted to kind of, again, showcase my culture in that way.
That's a kind of cool way of doing things, flipping things on their head, and really unique.
Exactly.
When you don't really have anything to write about, maybe at certain points in your life, do you do anything to get you back on track?
So sometimes I do get writer's block. That's what us writers call it and us musicians call it. Yeah. And sometimes I do something that's out of the ordinary to kind of distract myself from the daily routine of my life every day. So, I'll do something that'll make me happy, whether it be, lighting some candles in the house. I love lighting candles, and it really inspires me. And also incense, listening to my favorite artists, going on walks, working out, things like that. That kind of just take me away from the daily routine of my life. So I do, certain things like that to kind of bring me back and to kind of inspire me to write about something.
And you have just mentioned about the daily routines of your life. What exactly do you like to get up to when you're not making music?
What do I like to get up to? Well, I love when my boyfriend's home and he's not working, because we can have an amazing breakfast. I love when I make, it's called tres golpes, which is a Dominican breakfast. So you have mango, which is they're plantains, they're smashed plantains, and they're eggs and some salami, and it's just an amazing breakfast. And I love when he's home and waking up to that and having breakfast with him, and just starting off the day that way, and maybe recording a little bit of music since we have the in-home studio. But that's just the perfect day for me. I would describe that as a perfect day.
Sounds lovely. Have you ever written a song about a big breakfast like that?
No, but I should.
Yes.
Thanks for giving me the idea.
Does that mean I get like 50% of the royalties now?
Oh, yes, I have to credit you. I gotta credit you.
So, speaking of writing a song about that, have you got any more EPs and albums or singles coming up in the not too distant future?
So I am writing currently, not an EP or an album yet, not something that's big yet. But I do have a few singles that I'm working on that I would like to release before I, commit to another huge project like that. So
Yeah.
there will be other songs that I'm going to be collaborating on with other artists. So I'm excited to also feature them and just to work and collaborate with other people, which I think will inspire me to then go on to write another EP or another album.
And where is your music available? And also, social media, are you on there?
Oh, yes, of course. So my music is available on all major platforms. So you can go on iTunes, Apple Music, Spotify, Deezer, Tidal, Pandora, YouTube. I mean, almost every major platform. It's definitely all out there. And it's called Reina Mar, the EP. Again, it's a self-titled EP. And then if you would like to just make sure that you're catching up with everything and all the different projects that I'm doing coming up, you can go on my Instagram page, and that's at Reina Mar Music. And Reina is spelled Reina, and then it's MAR Music. And I also have my Facebook fan page as well. I'm also on Twitter. I'm also on YouTube. So if you search up Reina Mar, you'll be able to find me on there.
Great. Thank you very much for joining us today, Reina.
Thank you so much, Toby. Thank you again so much for having me. I really appreciate it.